welcome to Ace TCG. Today we have a new deck profile for the channel. I say new, but it is actually a deck that we have covered on the channel before. We are going to be covering ShineGreymon. Now, the reason that we have another upload of a deck profile for Shine is because realistically the deck is full of possible toolboxes, and for my other list, it's still a really strong list, but through my playstyle I've found this list to be definitely a bit more consistent for how I play. So this video isn't a you should run this over that list. This is a just showcasing how different the deck builds genuinely can be. Some cards, yellow have a lot of cards that are extremely good and consistent, but for how I play and for how I've played in other TCGs, this deck really gets me there. So yeah, we'll start with the babies. We are running 4 Uppermon. Uppermon is obviously a baby with the inherited effect of, when attacking once per turn, if you have 3 or fewer security, trigger draw 1. Like I mentioned in the last list, that just drawing cards is really nice, and if you manage to get down to 3 security, as long as it's not too early on, you can really start to gain a lot of value from some of the cards in your decks. This list has attempted a little bit to pull away from that so much. I really didn't like the necessity to be on a bit of a lower security, especially in how important basically that being your health in-game can be. So although I'm running the 4 Uppermon, it's only because this is the more realistic thing that's going to happen compared to some of the other eggs that happen. But we are also running a 5th egg, my 5th being Tokamon. So there are obviously other options for babies, and realistically, because of how inconsistent it is to gain said baby off, because you're running 5 and obviously you've got to shuffle them every time, you're not going to know which one you're going to get. So running the baby that is the opposite of this, but when you have 5 or more security, is just really inconsistent. I found if you get it like the first hatch, then yeah, you're going to get some value from that, but most of the times if you get it at any point after that, you're really not going to get any value from that. So realistically, I run Tokamon because I really like the art of Tokamon. The effect hardly ever comes up for me. Its effect is, during your turn, once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted by dropping to 0 DP, this Digimon gets plus 1000 DP for the turn. And obviously I do run cards that remove DP, but there's never really a necessity for the power gain because I'm not looking at, my deck is not built on trading and stuff. It's consistently built to just being able to build as much shine stuff or just completely make sure that your opponent has nothing on board as often as possible. So yeah, I run Tokamon because I like Tokamon realistically. We are going to take a peek at our rookies. We are still running 4 Patamon, the memory gainer Patamon. This card is, yeah, it's the bread and butter, and to be honest, it's the reason that you are able to do a lot of your plays and to still be able to consistently memory choke your opponent. So Patamon is a 3 cost with a digital cost of 0. It has DP of 1000, and it has the inherited effect of, during your turn, once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted by dropping to 0 DP, gain 1 memory. So yeah, it's fantastic. Being able to play a Shine for effectively 3 is nice. If you play your Slash, which we do run, you play for 2, and we also run other cards. We run some tech options that also remove DP power and stuff like that in our options. So there are a lot of ways that you can trigger this, and just being able to gain that 1 memory back to either keep it on your turn when you've slashed and you've got 3 memory and you go to 0 instead of 4 instead of 1. Meaning that you can attack with a Slash and a Rise underneath and get an additional security attack is cool. But also, just being able to stop your opponent from going to 2 into 1 instead is just really nice because it limits their plays. Really good card. A new and a different addition to contradict a little bit of my other video is Labramon. So originally I was a bit so-so on Labramon because drawing cards and having to be so specific in how you draw them, I was so-so on it, but I've actually grew to really enjoy Labramon. I bite my own tongue in what I said before because it does come off quite a lot. It is nice to have. So in this list we're running 6 rookies with inherited effects, and it's nice to have that additional there, to be fair. Drawing cards sometimes later in game can really get you to what you need, get you to your pieces, and just give you more options, so it's really nice. I like 2. I don't think I've run any more than this. In my last list, I think I was running the Agumon, which also drew cards, but again, I just found that to be the same thing, and that relied on attacking. Labramon, however, has the during no turn effect of when an opponent's Digimon is deleted by dropping to 0 DP, trigger, draw 1. It has the same cost and DP power as the Patamon before, being 3 and 1000 DP. And just overall, it's nice to be able to get that off late game. A lot of the games, and specifically in the last video that I uploaded for this, I had a Labramon in a stack and a Patamon in a stack. So every time I was deleting something, I was gaining a memory and I was drawing a card, which just started to feel really, really consistent and nice. Again, helping you get to where you need to be. To continue our rookie look, we are running 3 Salamon. I love Salamon because it feels like a fail-safe in the deck. So it's a 4 cost with a DP power of 2, and it has the on-deletion effect of if you have 3 or fewer security, trigger recovery +1. So I mentioned that I really don't like having to play this deck as I need to get to 3 as fast as possible. And this for me helps me bounce that back up. I think a lot of lists right now for Shine are running that gonna try and get to 3, then I'm gonna gain a lot of value, but that feels a bit more win more for me, which if you don't know what that means that basically when you're already ahead, you're using cards that are only gonna be consistent when you are in that scenario. And I like this because this can bounce you back from a losing situation. Also, putting this on top of an egg and on top of a baby just feels fantastic because you don't have to play that 4 cost, and it has a really nice on-deletion effect. Of course, when you swing into an opponent in their red and they get a Gaia Force from this, it does feel kind of stinky because they're going to wipe something else, but there's nothing to be expected. And to finish off our rookies, we are actually running 2 of the Patamon. I still really love this card, and I think this card really, really helps you get there sometimes, but running more than 2 doesn't feel as necessary because more than likely you're gonna get your Tamers. So it has the play cost of 3, Digivolve cost of 0, DP power of 2000, and it has the on-play effect of reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, add all yellow Tamer cards among them to your hand, and place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck. Getting 1 Tamer from this, more than enough, but the opportunity to get possibly 2 or even more is nice. A lot of times this has saved me because I would like to have a Tamer in hand for my Rise to play the Tamer for free, and just playing the Patamon allows me to do that. Also, in this deck, it's really about being patient, waiting for your opponent to sometimes play enough cards that you can get extra value from your Shine board wipes. So when you're on 3 because of your memory Tamer, you could play a Patamon and then you can like put a Chiriamon on top of it and put your opponent to 1, memory choke them, and also you're getting an on-play effect, which is really nice. As I mentioned, I'm not running Lopmon in this list, which may be a little controversial because Lopmon is a really good card, but I just don't like the idea of self-damaging just to get me there, because I'd rather my opponent fully fill out board and constantly be trying to hit me for that game than me put myself to 3 early, because I feel I have more options to bounce back for my list if I'm just removing my opponent's stuff while they're trying to build a big board. Also, because of some of the option cards that I run, a lot of opponents will go rookie wide because obviously it'll be a target for Shine, but because of my options, I can punish that really well. On to our champions. We are running 3 Ankleomon, a new addition again to Shine for me. A list that I saw that got 2nd place. It might have been 2nd place for the latest PPG event that was won by a Ragnar Lordmon deck. And they ran 3 Ankleomon, I believe. At first I was like, why? But actually they explained perfectly why, and it was whenever your opponent swings into security, and if you get this out, you can then, if you're on 3 memory, which you're more than likely going to be because you have your TK out, you can play a ultimate, and then you can play a mega on top, and it won't end your turn. And that's just really nice, and I get that. And also, it sometimes can just be game if they get that out, and then you've got that additional attack that you need. Getting a nice piece is nice, and it doesn't feel too bad to just draw this card. It's still a 2 cost Digivolve cost for a champion, so we can't complain. The TP power being 4000 is a little bit big stink because of Shine and Alteress, but for its overall value that it adds to the deck, it does its part. We are running 4 basic blockers. I'm not actually going to read out the blockers. I feel like I read out the blockers every time. These are the blockers that came in the starter deck for yellow, and they're really good. They do bits, as I've said before, and can just really stop your opponent from rushing you. 4 is good. I don't think I'd change from 4 because it saved my life so many times. Another best, yeah, I'm going to stand by it, the best champion in this deck, and I think the best champions of set 1.5 are the 1-cost Digivolve cost champions. So we're running that specifically, as I've mentioned before, for Memory Choke. Memory choking your opponent on turn 1 is really nice. Putting them to 1 means that they're going to bounce back to you once they play their champion for 2, which is usually the case. Yeah, can't complain. Tyrion literally does bits and is the reason for me why the deck's so consistent. Speaking of consistency with memory, we are running 4 ShineGreymon. So for our ultimates, we are running 8. And I'm running a very basic, more TCG, from different TCG kind of thing. So a lot of things that I've seen in this TCG is people are running a lot of 2-ofs, running cards at 3, which is perfectly fine. I like that. But for this list and for Shine in general, being able to run the 4 ShineGreymon is really, really nice. Being able to play a ShineGreymon for 5 and then go into any of your removal megas is fantastic. Or just being able to hard play one when you're on 3 and put your opponent to 2 isn't too bad. It really, really isn't. I really love the fact that the Digivolve cost of this is 2. I just feel it's amazing, and it really, really can help you just get there. If you play a slash on top of this and you have the memory pattern on underneath it, you can put your opponent to 1. So if you play this for 2 and you're on 3, and then you play your slash for 2 instead of 3, you put your opponent to 1, which comes up quite a lot for me. And I just really like that. I just think this card is really good consistency wise, and it really, really just helps me always get there when I need to. Also, a few of the other ultimates that you'll have seen are Woman. So my issue with running them is a lot of the times, because a lot of the meta right now is removal, you'll want to build up in your hatching area, but because they all have abilities, it feels really gross because you're losing that ability because abilities can't go off in the hatching area. So being able to play the ShineGreymon for the lower Digivolve cost feels fantastic. And the fact that it's a vanilla, for how really good it can be in this deck is really good. And to finish off our ultimates, we are still running for ShineGreymon because this card really is insane in this deck. Rise has the effects of when Digivolving, you may play 1 yellow Tamer card from your hand without paying its memory cost, and any of the on-play effects of the Tamer won't be activated, which is to limit your 4-cost TK. It also has the inherited effect of while you have 3 or more yellow Tamers in play, this Digimon gains security attack. Don't forget that it needs to be 3 or more Tamers. I have forgotten before, and my opponent has called me off, and I feel big dumb when I do. This card, you're always looking to fulfill this because it really helps you get and rush out those Tamers which you need for Shine. This deck is dot deck, play Tamers, hope your opponent doesn't kill you before you can get so much value from wiping their board. Pretty much. We will take a peek at our megas. So we're actually going to start with Slash. And usually I would go over Shine first because I run the 4-ofs. But I think it's really important, and I need to highlight the importance of Slash in this deck. So there are a lot of decks that I've seen running Kentorismon, for example. Kentoris is really nice and it stops your opponent for a turn. Being able to choose 5 of your opponent's cards and them say they have 0 attack, basically, is nice. But Slash being really, really cheap and consistent removal early game is fantastic. It is a 11 cost, which you're never going to do. It has a Digivolve cost of 3, and it has a power of 8,000, which stinks, but it has the when Digivolving effect of one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 8,000. If you've went first, and you are ahead, and you've played your ShineGreymon out, and you play the Slash on top, it's so much value to remove your opponent's ultimates, and from there you can just really snowball. I've had times where I've removed an opponent's ultimate with this, and then they've had to hard cast another ultimate or hard cast a champion and give me even more memory, which means that I'm just going to snowball and go a little bit wider anyway. And just having this option early is really needed because that's really where Shine struggles, the early game sometimes, because you need your early game to be constantly focused on getting your Tamers out. So Slash means that if your opponent's playing a big target, that you have chances to remove that. Also, if your opponent's playing Omnimon, this is one of the best ways to get rid of that Omnimon. Play your Slash minus the Omni by 8, swing into it, your Slash survives and the Omni is dead. Really good, and I'm really happy with the number of 2 at it, to be honest. Of course, the pièce de résistance, as I always tend to say, and I'm not a big side for it. It's one of those where the card is so heavily relied on in a deck that yeah, it's fantastic. You really can't say anything. It feels gross to play against, and it feels amazing to play. It has the play cost of 12, Digivolve cost of 4, DP power of 11, which is a little bit scary, but really well balanced from Bandai, actually. And it has the when Digivolving effect of suspend all yellow Tamers. For each Tamer you suspend this way, activate the following effect. Whenever your opponent's Digimon gets minus 4,000 DP for the turn, which is board wipe potential. And it has the during your turn effect of this Digimon gets plus 1,000 DP for each Tamer you have in play, which is good because you pretty much don't die when you swing with Shine and Security. Because you're usually going to be on about 16,000 DP beasts, which no Digimon in the game can currently get higher than. Of course, if they have option removal, that you can run into that, and that is a bit scary. So a few things to notice about this card, actually. You can't actually only get the effect of this off once per turn because it rests all of your yellow Tamers. So definitely make sure you're aware of that. You can't shine twice in a turn. Or you can shine twice, you just won't get the removal effect twice. So really keep on top of that. But for the most part, this card is insane. And I've talked a lot before about why it is. And if you've looked at Digimon before, you'll know why. So onto our Tamers. We're running 4 TK, 3 carry, and 3 of the TK from the trial deck. So this TK is insane. I think it's still the best Tamer in the game, and I stand by that. It has the start of your turn effect of if you have 2 or less memory, set your memory to 3. It has the on-play effect of look at your security stack, then reveal 1 card in it and add it to your hand. If that card's yellow, trigger recovery +1. Really strong. Just being able to add any card that you want from your security is nice. But the main reason this card is good is because you can see what is in your security stack without losing anything and gaining consistency. I have won games before because I know exactly what's coming up and I can change my playstyle to work around that. If I can see 3 Tamers in my security, I'm not going to work as heavily on making sure that I'm playing Tamers out from my hand because I know that I can possibly get 1 or 2 from my security if I need to. Next, we have Carry. I like Carry at 3. Carry has the start of your turn effective if you have 3 or fewer security, gain 1. Just having 1 of these out is nice because you go to 4 at the start of your turn. Having 2 means that you're at 5, and if you're getting 5 memory at every single turn, no matter what your opponent does. That's insane. You can play Sirenmon and then go into anything. Your opponent at that point has no real way of bouncing back unless you brick. Really insane. You need to watch out if you're playing at Shine to not try and put them to 3. Of course, a lot of Shine lists run Lotmon, so they're going to get there anyway. We are running the trial deck TK, and it has the opponent's turn effect of all your security Digimon get plus 2,000 DP, which is pretty cool. But the reason we play this is because there's the 2-cost Tamer, sorry. And yeah, that is brilliant. Again, being able to lock your opponent to low memory is really nice. What we talked about, the champions and the Chiriamon putting your opponent to 1. If they put you back to 1 and you play a TK, that's the best. That's my early gameplay that I want to be doing. I want to rush out Tamers when I can and when it doesn't feel like I'm losing any advantage for that. Now we'll look at our options card, and we'll actually look at my favorite card in the deck, Lightning Paw. So I'm running 2 Lightning Paw, and I have been running 2 Lightning Paw for over a month now. Lightning Paw is a 3-cost options card with the main effect of up to 3 of your opponent's level 3 Digimon get minus 4,000 for the end of the turn, of course. So yeah, as I mentioned, a lot of opponents will try and go a bit wide early game against you because they think, oh, if I rush him down, then his Shine's not going to get enough value. Or if I just spam the board, I play a lot of on-turn effects, it's just... Lightning Paw is really good. Being able to remove even 1 rookie is really strong with an options card and really helps you stay alive and stay at what you need to be doing in your Shine deck. So running this card is, I don't see myself removing this card anytime soon. It just really helps against Rookie Rush. It's really strong against green. It's really strong against blue. It's really strong against red. It's one of those cards that's just good in a lot of matchups. Removing 1 card with an options card really just is strong, but the potential to remove even more than that is nice. I have Lightning Paw to remove 3 rookies before, and it feels like the best thing ever, and your opponent will always just be like, what the heck? And the last cards in our deck are 2 Glorious Burst. We will not remove this card because this card is really strong. It's really strong. It's a 9 cost, which you never really want to pay 9, because it has the reduce ability of reduce the memory cost of this card in your hand by 1 for each yellow Tamer you have in play. So I usually end up playing this card for 5 or 4, and it's really nice because you can play things and then remove an opponent's like really big target. So against Ceresmon, this card is fantastic because you can just remove a Ceres without having to be rested, and that can just really slow your opponent down. Even if you give them a bit of memory, it can really slow your opponent down because they have to do a lot to get it out. It has the main effect of one of your opponent's Digimon get minus 12,000 DP for the turn. So that removes a lot of things. Of course, it doesn't remove Omnis, and to be honest, this card is quite dead against an Omnimon, but we have some other options to remove Omnis in the deck. So this usually just does its pieces. But yeah, that is the Shine list. That is my updated Shine list, and I don't really see myself changing it anytime soon. But things change, and I might play against another yellow player and I might think that card actually seems quite nice, or I might brick a lot with the deck and that might get frustrated and change some things. And that's how the Digimon TCG really has been working as well. It's all about what is best for you and what you find good. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to subscribe and leave a like, and I hope to see you soon. Have a great day.